So let's talk about the who your patients are, who you should be targeting. And not every patient is your ideal. And I'm not necessarily talking numbers in a lot of cases, because that's the first thing to say, well, I did a postcard or I did a Groupon, and I'm not picking on Groupon. It's just what everyone knows. And said, I got 1,000 patients off of it. And it's like, but my numbers didn't go up, we lost money on it, so it didn't work. Well, you were focused on maybe the wrong who. So we need to get clear, and it's the quality of the patients. And I wanted to preface this because I'm not talking about rich, and not everyone lives in Beverly Hills and has 7- and 8-figure people to attract. I lived in rural New Mexico, the highest Medicaid county in the state. And if they didn't have Medicaid, they had insurance, and they'd only do what they wanted to do. And so I was trying to practice that model. I was trying to turn somebody into something they weren't. So I started getting true, who is my who? Who's the people I really liked? And I was like, well, I didn't know what they were, but I was like, I like Travis, and I like Bob, and I like Sue, and I like them. And so then when I listed all of that down and started looking at what they had in common, what I found for me, in my practice for me, was they were all ranchers. It just happened to be. But I loved everything about them. They brought a horse trailer in. We had to make sure we had horse trailer parking. But why did I like them? They paid their bills. If I told them they needed that crown, they did it. They didn't say, well, you have to check with my insurance and see if they allow it. They never did that because they didn't have insurance. And I said, well, can you be here tomorrow? Sure, because they set their own hours. Now, this is just an example of my who, but I had to get really clear on that. Because I was like, well, maybe we should, there was a college town. Let's hit the professors. They make the most money in town. I hated them. They hated me. It was no love in that relationship. But those ranchers, I loved to see them on the schedule. That was my Betty and my Jill. And so I said, well, how can I be in front of them more often? And when I got crystal clear on that and started shifting what I did, where I was where they are, what I said the things they needed to hear, that's when I started getting really good results. So you need to do that for yourself. You might be the person that attracts the college professor that has the insurance. You just resonate with them. You can get them to do whatever they want. I couldn't. And that's why I had to be my own person and live my own practice. So I could see fewer of them than I was seeing with the other ones, and I was running them through trying to convert them. It drove me nuts. And it was because I wasn't good at converting the other people. So we need to go social skills, and we need to work on treatment plan acceptance. And so we would do a training on that, and and it was never ending. It was just because I wasn't in the right place, the right people. It's like somebody who might be perfect on paper, making them try to love you, and there's no chemistry. Okay? Because marketing is a relationship. It also gives you more control to create sustainable growth. So if I was at the knee-jerk reaction of everybody's stuff, I couldn't do it. Your ideal clients are looking for you right now, and they don't know you exist. I've already told you, you can be in practice for 20 years, and you advertise everywhere, but they don't know. But the thing is, do you know who your ideal patients are? Do you know who your ideal clients are? What makes them great? What's the stuff going on in their head? So my rancher guys, what was bugging them? They didn't like to leave. They came, some of them 300 miles to me. So they weren't going to make multiple visits. So they wanted longer appointments. Not everybody wants that. They were tough. They weren't scared of things. They didn't want sedation. So if I was marking sedation, they really didn't care. But they wanted me to take care of them well, and then get as much done as we could. So they might be my patient all day. And if I had scheduled to do that, we could accommodate it, because I built that around there to accommodate them, because I knew my who. So what was going on in their heads? I had to have horse trailer parking, because they were coming through town. They would stop, and they needed that space to go on. If it was hard for them to pull into downtown, they wouldn't go to that dentist. These are all the things that are going on in their head. And make it easy. Come on, clicker. It's a win, 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 win. So who's the WIN? Who it is, their issues, and what's their biggest needs. And I've put wants on there too, because they will react more to wants than needs. And when you nail this, they'll say, it was like you were talking to me. I had one marketing piece we did. It was around Christmas time. It had a picture of a farmer on the front of it. It had a great smile, and it said, Santa, all I want for Christmas is my new smile. And the message was a little off from the picture, because you're like, and people looked at it and dismissed a farm guy in the picture, and they kind of blew it off. And I thought, Ginger, you missed the mark. But 6 months later, I had my ideal patient come in, and he had that in his wallet. He unfolded it. He said, I've been carrying this for 6 months. I knew I wanted to do this. This really talked to me. Didn't ask how much it was, how soon can we get it done? Because it was the right message at the right time with the right way. So it's called entering, Gary Halbert, who's a brilliant copywriter, it's called entering the conversation going on in their heads. It's not, I am certified to do one-day crowns. I've got this new piece of machinery. I'm the best. I was voted top dentist. And, those things are important down the road. It's like, you understood what I was feeling. And he told me he was embarrassed to admit to anybody he didn't like a smile. He said, not really, all I wanted really for Christmas was a great smile. And it just resonated for him. So what's going on in their heads? And back to that, you can't be everyone's dentist. So maybe you have an associate you work with. Maybe they are more equipped to see that person than you are. They don't have to all come through you. Or maybe you partner with another dentist that's not competition, I would say, that's down the street where you could refer them to. Maybe this is where you do refer the specialist off to. But you don't have to see every patient. And but we think we have to. And you have to know who they are, hit the mark, and you'll have your ideal. So start with who your best patients are. If you know already it's Jill and Betty, you just need to clone them. But you need to know everything about them. Just like I did for my ranchers, my example, how we did that, figure out what's going on with them.